Hello, guys, and welcome back to our YouTube channel where we share real life stories of people and invite helpful responses from you. Today's video shows a submission from a hurt husband whose wife cheated on him. Before I tell you the story, make sure to subscribe to the channel and save us by the bell. I'm a 35-year-old man settled in New York with my wife who is 33. I lived a perfect life until I caught my wife red-handed with my narcissist boss. So it all began when I took my wife to a party that all the employees had arranged. That was my biggest mistake. Had I known what would follow after that party, I would not have let that party happen, or at least not taken my wife where she would meet my boss of 48 years and cheated on me. Anyway, my wife and I went to the party and had a lovely time. She's a social butterfly and loves talking to people and befriending them. So in less than an hour, my wife had made dozens of friends and remembered their names and what they do. I was glad that she was having a good time. Then the head of my department, let's name him Bob, joined the party with his wife. His wife met my wife and then he came. Bob smiled brightly, hugged my wife and chatted as if they had known each other for ages. I found it pretty awkward, so I tried having a chat with Bob, but he was not interested in talking to me. My wife and I mingled with other people and left the party. I asked my wife what she thinks of my boss, and she said he was charming and witty, but he made her uncomfortable by hugging her in front of his wife. I told my wife that he was a notorious playboy. He loved going out with younger women and cheating on his wife. My boss was a narcissist. He loved the attention and wanted people to praise him every time. All the people in my department knew his personality as well. He even dated a few female employees of the company, went out on a few dates with them, and then he never called them again. I told my wife everything about my boss and she was shocked. When he came home, one employee created a WhatsApp group to share all the pictures. Someone had added my wife too. I was sure that would happen because she was quick at making friends and exchanging numbers. Our phones were blowing for the next few hours. Pictures and videos were shared, and everyone chatted about the party. The next few days went by. I was busy with work and did not pay much attention to what my wife was up to. She went out more often to jog or meet up with her friends. I never objected because I knew her nature, but one thing that bothered me was that she came home quite later than usual. One day when I returned from the office, she wasn't there and did not return till 9 p.m. I asked her whereabouts and she was upset about it. We argued a lot and I told her that I should at least know where she was and when she would return. But that infuriated her, which was odd, because she had never reacted this way before. This went on for a week and I decided to do something. So I took her Android phone and linked my spare Gmail account to her phone. I also turned on her location to see where she went. I decided to track her location from my laptop and see where she went every day for so long. My wife is not a techie, so she had no idea what I had done. When I had her phone in my hand, I decided to check it. I opened her WhatsApp, scrolled her endless chats and found nothing suspicious. I also checked her Facebook and Instagram. What shocked me was that my boss, Bob, had liked her few pictures and left some really flattering comments. I hated it and wanted to tell my wife to block him, but I saw that my wife has not replied to any of his comments or messages in the DM. The next day, I asked my wife about my boss's comments on her pictures. I told her that I had seen her pictures from my profile, but she casually brushed away the topic and said, "Oh, don't worry, I'll block him." When I came home from work that day, my wife wasn't at home. I went straight to my room and switched on my laptop. I logged into the email address I had entered in my wife's cell phone and checked the map. Her location history showed the same thing, that she goes to a fancy restaurant every day. I checked her current location. She was there. So without wasting another minute, I went to that restaurant. I went inside and saw her sitting on the table alone. I went to her and tapped her on the shoulder. She was astounded to see me and asked what I was doing there. I could not tell her the truth because she would have created a big drama in a public place. So I told her that I had come to meet my friend who came from New Orleans a few days back. She nodded and told me that she also came to have coffee with her friend. I nodded, but I did not believe her. I sat with her at the table, and she was highly uncomfortable, as if she wanted me to leave or go out of the restaurant herself. I pretended to wait for my friend, and finally, after 5 minutes, I took out my phone and said that my friend wasn't coming today, so I was going to leave. I literally saw her tensed body get relaxed. But before leaving, I asked her, hasn't her friend come yet? She said her friend was still at work and would join her in 10 minutes. I left the restaurant and sat in my car, but did not leave. I wanted to see her mysterious friend, who would meet her daily. A few minutes later, I saw Bob coming out from his car. I was shocked. I knew he was interested in my wife, but I did not know he saw her every day, or else why would he be there? It could not be a coincidence that Bob came alone to a restaurant while my wife was waiting for her friend to get off work. I rushed home and opened my laptop. This time I did not only check the location, but her entire history, emails and apps that she had downloaded. Her search history drove me crazy. She extensively researched narcissism, how to make a narcissist fall in love with you, and can a narcissist be a good husband and father? My wife was planning to marry him and have his baby. I felt sick to my stomach. I checked her emails and found that she and Bob had been talking via email, so nobody could catch them. She shared her inappropriate photos with him, and he kept praising that how fit her body was. It was too much for me. I wanted to confront her and divorce her right then and there, but I decided to collect more proof, as she could not deny them or accuse me of fabricating false evidence. I hated looking at her face. It was a task for me to endure her presence in my house. I started working late to observe Bob more. He used his mobile frequently and called someone every day during lunchtime. I hated seeing him. I knew he was talking to my wife. I also observed that my wife was using her phone more than usual. I connected my wife's WhatsApp on my laptop. I opened her chats to check which name she used to save Bob's number. She had saved his number as Laundry and archived the chat. I read their chat. Bob had messaged her right after the party. He got her number from the WhatsApp group. He texted her about how good he felt to meet her, and Bob could not resist complimenting my wife on how lovely she looked and was saying I was a lucky man to be her husband. Bob kept texting her, and my wife started giving him short replies, which soon turned flirtatious. He soon started arranging their secret meetings. Bob was 48, and he was an expert in flirting with women. He knew what to say and when to say it to attract women to him. He has been doing it for ages. My wife was just his next fling. However, my wife was a total stupid who thought that Bob loved him and would marry her one day. I exported a copy of her chat to my phone. I also downloaded all the pictures and videos that they exchanged. While reading their chat, I also learned that he and my wife had slept together numerous times. Bob had taken their pictures together in bed and sent her via email. This was it for me. I decided to confront her and ask her to leave. I could not be with a wife who was not even loyal to me. I had decided to wait for the right time to confront her, maybe after I started an affair with another woman and cheated on her on my wife. But I did not have that much patience. The following day, when she woke up, I told her to get out of my house and that I'll send divorce papers soon. She was confused, but then I told her that I knew what she's been doing behind my back. At first, she denied it and even yelled at me for accusing her of cheating, but I knew what would happen, so I showed her everything on my phone. Her flirtatious chat, her search history of attracting a narcissist, her location history and images that she had shared with him. She was shocked. She could not wrap her mind as to how I had access to her data. She did not know how I had linked my Google account to her phone. I expected her to cry or ask for forgiveness, but to my surprise, she blamed me for all this. She said I did not give her enough attention or buy her expensive gifts like Bob. It boiled my blood and I lost temper with her. I told her that I worked so that we could afford to live in New York. I also told her that she did not work a day in her life or contribute to household expenses. All she did was spend my money and then cheat behind my back for not giving her attention. We argued like maniacs and she left. I also left for office and decided to resign. I was not patient enough to meet the guy who slept with my wife daily in the office. That day, Bob came to the office late and was in a pathetic mood. I knew that my wife must have told him that I knew about them. He looked at me angrily, and I stared back equally hard. Many people noticed the tension between us that day. I even typed my resignation and 3 months' notice and sent it to HR. Meanwhile, I started hunting for better jobs. I knew it was a rash decision, but the damage had been done. My wife kept calling me, begging me to take her back, but I ignored her calls and messages throughout the day. When I went home, she was there. I was furious and told her that she could not come to my house after all she had done to me, but she kept on crying and asked me to take her back. She told me that when I kicked her out of the house, she called Bob and told her to support her. Bob screamed at her for not being careful and denied her request to support her. He even told her that he was going out for fun and never meant anything serious. He also told my wife that he is married and can never marry a woman who cheats on her husband. I felt joyous about what Bob told my wife. I smiled devilishly and told my wife I did not want an unfaithful wife. I also told her that I won't be able to give her attention and expensive gifts, and she could find someone else. She kept crying and begging that she had nowhere to go, so I gave her some money to stay in a motel and told her not to show up again in my apartment. I even changed the locks, but she was persistent. She kept calling me and asking me to meet her. I was tired of her, so I blocked her, but to my surprise, she showed up at my office. I was embarrassed to see her at my office because I knew Bob was seeing all this. I took her to a nearby cafe and told her that I did not want her back in my life, but what she told me shook my entire world. We are pregnant. We are about to have a child. Please let me come back. I shook my head and told her that it must be the Bob's baby, not mine, but she insisted me that it was mine. I did not believe her, but she showed me the blood test report that confirmed that it was my baby. I still told her that I did not want her. She will still be the same woman who cheated with a rich and much older guy behind my back. She was not expecting this from me and was clearly upset. She even said mean things to me about being an insensitive person and not caring about my unborn child, but it did not affect me. I told her that she could get rid of the baby if she wanted to, but I'm not going to accept her at any cost. I'm sure that it isn't my baby. She wants to come back because her boyfriend dumped her. She had nowhere to go, so she returned to me and played the baby card. I have filed for divorce and I think she will ask for child care support, but I won't give it to her. I can tell my lawyer that she has been sleeping with another man and it's probably his baby. I have all the proof. A big thanks to technology for helping me figure out what my wife was doing the entire time I was busy working to provide a better life for her. There was a time when I longed to be a father, but after learning about her infidelity, I don't want my child from her. In fact, I have decided that next time I got married, I will never ever introduce my wife to my boss or rich friends. Women get easily impressed with money and will go to any extent to befriend or marry those rich folks, even if it involves being disloyal to their husbands. So, this was the submission from the anonymous bat. What do you think of the story? Plus, is he right for believing all women are gold diggers, or is he being biased because of this bitter experience? Let us know in the comments below. I'm sure Anonymous Bat will skim the comment sections to read your responses.